Alright guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be doing a famous chipper. It's called the Filthy 50, and you guessed it, we're going to be doing 50 reps of 10 different exercises. So a little quick math, you can figure out you're going to be doing 500 reps. The nice thing is it's not 500 reps of the same thing. The movements are actually not too tough, each of them. It's just that they kind of creep up on you. It's kind of like eating hot salsa, right? First few bites, not so bad. Eventually, your mouth's on fire, and it takes a while for that fire to go out. So same thing here, same idea. Okay, the first thing we're going to be doing is box jumps. We're going to do 50 box jumps at 24 inches, 20 inches for women, and then we're going to do jumping pull-ups, then kettlebell swings, then walking lunges, and I'm going to add a little twist. We're going to do overhead with a PVC bar because I want to keep your shoulders upright and I want to keep those hands off your thighs. So PVC overhead walking lunge, then knees to elbows, then push press, then back extensions, then wall balls, then burpees, and then double unders finally at the end. So all you list makers out there that like to make lists and go shopping, this is going to be a heyday for you. You're going to love it. So let's start off with the box jumps real quickly. We got 10 things to cover. So the box jump is jump onto the box, full hip extension. It is acceptable, and you can still check the RX box if you step up, but got to get that full hip extension, guys, all right? So none of this stuff, right? That's no good, right? We want full hip extension at the top. All right, now let's head over and do the next exercise. All right, so the next exercise is the jumping pull-up. Now, the jumping pull-up is the same range of motion as the regular pull-up. It's still full elbow extension, shin above bar, full elbow extension. So basically, when you get your feet back on the box, getting this low is not acceptable. You've got to get that full elbow extension, okay? So the jumping pull-ups are going to look like this. Elbow extension, up. Right? Now it's easier to do a jumping pull-up than a regular pull-up, so you should be able to get those 50 done pretty quick, but just make sure you get that full range of motion and keep cycling. All right, on to the next exercise. All right, guys, so the next movement is going to be the kettlebell swing, and the kettlebell swing is going to be done with 35 pounds for men and 26 pounds for women. It's not a real heavy weight today, but still want to make sure that you're getting that full stacked position overhead, so get those shoulders open if you can. If you have any shoulder issues, we may limit the range of motion, but otherwise you get a nice healthy shoulder. Try to get it stacked. And then on the bottom, we want to make sure we protect the back by keeping that good back arch. And what we don't want to see is we don't want to see you getting sucked under like this. I see this a lot of times when people are starting to get tired. That's a really dangerous position to be in. So what we want to do is at the bottom, we want to keep that big upright chest. We want to drive the hips open. Pop. Right? We pop those hips open. The bell will swing nicely overhead. We'll stay in control. All right, let's go on to the next movement. All right, guys. So the next movement is going to be the overhead walk or the walking lunge, but I'm going to add the little twist because oftentimes what I see is I see people getting down here and they've got their hands on their thigh and they're rocking forward and coming up out of it, and that's kind of a cheat. And I'd really rather you focus on using your lower extremity to move. Basically, the key to the walking lunge is we're trying to always segue into more difficult movements. So the walking lunge is a really nice segue into the split jerk, right? In this nice lunging position. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a PVC pipe, go snatch grip, so nice wide grip, and we're just going to hold it overhead while we do our 50 steps of walking lunges. All right? On to the next movement. Okay, so the next movement is going to be the knees to elbows. And this is probably, for me, when I first started doing CrossFit, when I did the Filthy 50, this is where I pretty much hit the wall. Okay, it seems like it's more of a core movement, but once you get pretty proficient with your core, you're hanging from that bar for a really long time. So typically what I see is people's grip starting to give out. So you're going to it's going to be grip intensive, and there's no better way to work it than just to do it. And you're going to get better and better at it. But don't get discouraged if it takes you a while. So, now, if you cannot do the knees to elbow movement, which is getting those knees up, touching the elbows, and back down. If you can't do that movement, what we're going to do is establish a standard for you. And let's say for you, the highest you can get your knees is maybe to hip height. Or maybe you can go a little higher, go to armpit height. Whatever that height is, we're going to stick with that all the way through the workout or all the way through those 50 reps. We're going to get it done. You can kip on these, and the kip looks a little wacky. It's kind of hard to master, but once you've got it, you can cycle them pretty quick. And the kip looks like this. All right, on to the next movement. All right, so now we're on to the push press. Now the push press is a single knee bend. It is not a push jerk. So we're going to get under that bar and a racket. Now we want the elbows in front of the bar. We don't want them behind the bar like this. But we don't need to go into a full rack like we're going to front squat because we're going to go overhead. So we'll just get those elbows a little bit in front of the bar and we're going to dip. Notice I've got a vertical torso. Don't want to dip forward when we dip. We want to dip straight down, weight on the heels, and extend the knees hard and go overhead. So that's 2. Now notice at the top, my head's through. Want that bar right over the frontal plane. We don't want it out in front of the frontal plane, nor do we want it behind. We want it right over the frontal plane, straight up in the air. Okay, so it's going to be 45 pounds for men and 30 pounds for women on the push press. Next movement. Okay, here we are on the GHD. The next movement is the back extension. Now, I don't want to split hairs on this, and honestly, for the purposes of this workout, I'm not really worried about whether you do a strict back or a strict hip extension. And I'll demonstrate the difference. A back extension is flexion of the back. So you see the rounding of the back and then extension of the back. Hip extension is flexion of the hips, extension of the hips. Okay? So if you do kind of a combination of the two, I'm not super worried about it because we're not trying to isolate or anything here. Either way, you're going to work the erectors in your back. You're going to work your hamstrings. It's a great workout. So 50 of those. Move on to the next exercise. Okay, here we are at the wall ball station. The wall balls are going to be done to 10 feet. Now, fortunately for us, before we moved in here, it was an office and they had drop ceiling in here. When they pulled the drop ceiling out, you can see where the paint, where the walls were finished, right up to 10 feet. And above that, it was not painted or textured. So we've got a nice, convenient 10-foot line all the way around this room. Men are going to do 20 pounds and women are going to do 14 pounds. On the wall balls, we want to make sure that the elbows get out basically to the center of the ball. If the elbows are behind the center of the ball, you're going to be reverse curling it. It's going to be a really challenging movement for you. So keep that ball in tight, okay? Get that ball tucked in right under your chin. Now we're going to do a nice front squat, and we're going to drive the ball up to a 10-foot mark. We're going to do 50 of these. Now granted, at this point, you're probably going to be very tired, so you might want to break this into sets of 5 or something like that. No problem. Just get through them as fast as you can. Let's go on to the next movement. We're almost done. So right about now, you're thinking, I've done a lot of stuff. What would be the most fun thing that I could possibly imagine doing? I'll tell you what, burpees. So we're going to do 50 burpees. This is the second to last movement, and this is the one where you got to dig deep and work hard because you're going to be very tired. So again, the burpee is chest to floor, full extension at the top of the clap. Now they're not going to look that spry. When I do it, in this workout, they look terrible. But I get them done, I grind through them, and let's move on to the last exercise. Just about to the time you're most tired and your nervous system is most fried, you got to be kind of coordinated for, you guessed it, the double under. All right, so we're going to whip out 50 of these guys. We're going to be as efficient as we can because we're really tired at this point. If we can get 50 done straight, we're going to be excited. Most of us are probably not going to accomplish that. That's fine. You're going to have to really focus on technique, focus on form, keep nice tight concentric circles, and really use those wrists to generate speed on the rope. Well, thanks for going through the Filthy 50 with me. Whew, I'm beat. All right, I'll see you at the gym.